if anyone was meant to survive the chaotic world that Broadway is, it would definitely be the demon Beetlejuice. Ever since I started to look more in depth into shows, none has compared to the story of this musical. A musical that has survived closing notice, bad reviews, and even a pandemic, and that continues to go strong. With a West End production, an Australian tour, and a North American tour as well, this show is destined to exist to the great beyond. This is a fascinating story of hard work, resilience, and how if you do something you truly love, people will notice. My name is Joel Casillas, and I will tell you the story of one of my favorite musicals, Beetlejuice. To understand how this musical came to be, we need to start with the company behind it, Warner Bros. Theater Ventures. After the disappointment and backlash of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, they began asking themselves, which show could truly become a success? During those conversations, a Broadway version of Batman was actually considered. Eventually, we landed on Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is a 1988 Tim Burton's movie starring Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder, and the plot revolves around Adam and Barbara Maitland, a recently deceased couple. As ghosts, they are not allowed to leave their house. They contact Beetlejuice, a sleazy bioexorcist, to scare the house's new inhabitants away. The big next question was, who would make this show? Enter Alex Timbers. Alex Timbers is currently one of the most talked about people in Broadway, and for a good reason. He now holds the record of having the most shows running on Broadway at the same time. All Tony-nominated productions: Moulin Rouge at the Alice Hirschfeld Theater, Just in Time at Circle in the Square Theater, All In at the Hudson, and of course Beetlejuice at the Palace Theater. Even though at the moment of this recording, the run in the Palace has already ended for Beetlejuice, but still, at one time these 4 shows were on the same time. But before reaching this milestone, Timber was known for his 2010 rock musical Bloody Bloody under Jackson. He quickly became recognized for his bold approach to Broadway. He didn't want the ordinary, he wanted the extraordinary, which made him a perfect match for what Beetlejuice was about to become. Now, what would a Broadway musical be without music? For that, we have to travel to Australia. But why Australia? That's where Eddie Perfect is from. Eddie Perfect had long wanted to make a name for himself in musical theater, but struggled to find that opportunity in Australia, even though he created an intriguing show back in 2008 called Shane Warne The Musical. And if you listen closely, you can already hear rhythms and ideas that would later appear in Beetlejuice. You'll be straight back on the bench, boy, you're never gonna make it. And after growing frustrated on how difficult it was to make a living in theater, Eddie received encouragement from Australian legend and friend Tim Minchin. Tim suggested he try his luck with a project he had heard about, something completely different from anything before. That project, of course, was Beetlejuice. At first, Alex Timbers and Warner Bros. Theater Ventures didn't have Eddie Perfect in mind, but everything changed when Eddie submitted 2 songs for free, one for Lydia and one for Beetlejuice. At that moment, the team knew they had found the sound they were looking for. If you've listened to the Beetlejuice cast album, you know this is not your typical Broadway story. It's a mix of rock, pop, Paramore-like energy, combined with a mix of unexpected sounds. That's one of the main reasons these shows feel so different, and why I personally love it so much.
I'll be your guide. I'll be your GUIDE to the other.
Now that we have a director and a composer, it was time for showtime.
It's showtime!
The next step was assembling the full creative team. Enter David Corns. Yes, the same designer behind Hamilton. William Ivy Long as costume designer, and Kenneth Posner in charge of lighting. With a creative team complete, it was time to find the voices. They knew they didn't want to copy Michael Keaton's movie performance, they wanted something entirely new. Back in 2015, during the height of Hamilton mania, another show was gaining attention on Broadway, School of Rock. Inspired by the 2003 Jack Black film, it became the second hottest show of the season. While many people couldn't afford Hamilton prize tickets, School of Rock became an alternative gateway into Broadway. And that's where we meet Alex Brightman. In 2016, Brightman received a Tony nomination for leading actor alongside Lin-Manuel Miranda and Leslie Odom Jr. During his time in School of Rock, something happened that would change his life forever. During a performance, Alex broke his voice. Literally. He couldn't produce a sound. He's spoken openly about believing his career was over, but fittingly for a Beetlejuice story, something magical came out of this. Through recovery, Alex discovered he could produce a unique sound without damaging his vocal cords. Inspired by tuba and throat singing, a technique where performers create two sounds at once, he developed the iconic Beetlejuice voice. Diabolical, strange, and absolutely perfect for this role. With the team assembled, it was time to give the show a home. That home was the iconic Winter Garden, which has hosted legendary productions like Cats, Mamma Mia, West Side Story, The Music Man, and many more. Opening night was April 25th, 2019. At the beginning, Beetlejuice wasn't the community-driven phenomenon we know today. The show opened with uncertainty and, to be honest, a rough start. Early box office numbers hovered around 800,000, with some weeks averaging closer to 600,000. Since this was a 21 million show, they were around a 500,000 short per week to be considered profitable. This led to their first major obstacle. Due to a clause in the contract with the Schubert organization, if a show failed to meet a certain financial threshold, the theater could reclaim the space. And that's exactly what happened. The Schubert organization informed the production of Beetlejuice they would need to vacate the Winter Garden, setting a final performance date of June 6th, 2020, to make way for The Music Man starring Hugh Jackman. This decision sparkled a debate in early 2020, especially after Beetlejuice gaining momentum following the 2019 Tony Awards, where we received 8 nominations, including Best Musical, but losing against Hadestown. Its unapologetic, fourth-wall breaking humor and being dead identity began to stick with audiences. Moving into 2020, the production knew it needed to make as much impact as possible. Enter understudy Presley Ryan. Backstage life can get boring, so Presley started posting behind-the-scenes videos on social media. What followed was a butterfly effect no one could have predicted. In a Broadway world often sees as distant and untouchable, these videos humanized the cast and crew. Fans connected not just with the characters, but with the people behind them. Trends exploded, especially around songs like The Whole Been Dead Thing and Say My Name. Just as everything seemed to be turning around, March 12, 2020 happened.
All Broadway theaters would be shut down.
Broadway to shut down for a month beginning tonight.
The show won't go on for Broadway this year.
The Broadway shutdown, the longest blackout in Broadway history, began. To make matters worse, lead actress Sophia Ann Caruso announced her departure in February. Presley Ryan ultimately stepped in the role of Lydia, supported by an overwhelming wave of fan love. The final performance of Beetlejuice took place on March 10th, 2020, and no one knew if this was truly the end. Just a quick pause, I ran the numbers from December 22, when both Beetlejuice and The Music Man were running on Broadway. Beetlejuice earned $5.6 million, while The Music Man earned an astonishing $12.2 million. So this is just highlighting how much of a blockbuster draw The Music Man was. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. With the clock ticking, Beetlejuice needed a new home. After months of silence, in September 2021, the show announced its return in 2022 at the Marquis Theater. Fans were ecstatic, including myself. After 312 performances, the show closed once again, but not before announcing its first national tour starring Justin Collette and Isabella Esler. Justin was no stranger to Alex Brightman actually. Having previously been the understudy in School of Rock, Isabella, meanwhile, had gained popularity through social media by singing songs by Beetlejuice. She later shared that getting the role felt like a dream. The tour visited over 88 cities, including Mexico, and one of the stops was, of course, San Diego, where I saw the show for the first time and I instantly fell in love. In early 2025, the show announced a limited Broadway engagement at the Palace Theater, marking its third time in New York, and as they say, third time's the charm. The production is currently earning over $9 million, with another tour announced afterwards, once again including San Diego as one of the stops. At the moment when I wrote the script, I mentioned that yes, I wanted to see Justin and Isabella again, but unfortunately they announced that after their Broadway run, they will no longer be part of Beetlejuice, and they are currently doing casting for Lydia, and most than likely they will be doing the same for Beetlejuice. So yeah, we will have a new cast. So I won't see Justin and Isabella again. And even though the musical didn't win any awards at the Tonys, they have won other awards, of course, such as Outer Critic Circle, Drama League, Drama Desk, and Theater World Awards. The cast album would become the top streaming original album of the 2018-2019 season in all streaming platforms, hitting over 350 million streams globally. And well, Beetlejuice has a chaotic story, but it's a living proof that when you create something audiences can relate to, they will support it, no matter how times it returns. This musical will forever be part of Broadway history, and I have no doubt it will become a cult classic long after it's gone. So far, this musical has survived 6 years, that it's no easy task, has returned to Broadway on 3 occasions, in 3 different theaters, which is not something we easily see in the musicals world. And of course, fans keep engaging on this adored musical. And I truly believe this is not to be taken for granted. It needs a lot of pieces to fit perfectly for a chaotic story to continue making headlines after its first show in 2019. The tour is a tour that doesn't seem to end soon, and the cast will be forever remembered for years to come. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Follow me on my social media and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love reading and interacting with you all. And with that said, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. I'll see you behind the anchor.